Okay, so anyhow, so I'm continuing on. This is gonna have to be part two because these idiots who put together this camera, um, it just didn't do well. But anyhow, David Letterman goes on and does his own show, and I can't remember where he started out. It seems like it's New York or Chicago, but anyhow, he interviews Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. talks about his escapades and making the Iron Man movie and working with the suit and all kinds of stuff. And then apparently Robert Downey Jr. has a some kind of a place in California, I believe. Anyhow, he has all these exotic animals, llamas, and I can't remember what. I'm not sure if it's even a llama. I think it's a family of the llamas or whatever. But anyhow, um, so that he gets really personal with Robert Downey Jr. and also David Chappelle, who I believe grew up in Louisiana, and and so anyhow, um, and again these interviews are from this year. The interview with David Chappelle was done outside, I believe in Louisiana near his hometown, and it was everybody had masks on, and that's the way the interview went. But Dave Chappelle is also has his fair share of stories that he talks about concerning growing up and doing live comedy and getting into live comedy and and um, and then becoming a Muslim. Um, as I understand it, he's now a Muslim, and he does his practices, and a lot of people, in his hometown, know who he is, of course, because he's famous, but not because his fame, but because of who he is as a person, and so that he may walk around town, and people will say hi to him as a person, and and they won't go over and crowd him and want an autograph and all kinds of stuff. They just they're just themselves, and they treat him like a regular person. So anyhow, a very interesting interview with Dave LaPelle. But now the next movie the next movie I want to talk about is A Christmas Prince. Is that right? No. Yeah, that's right. The Royal Baby. I just forgot to put the Royal Baby in there. Um, so anyhow, um, A Christmas Prince, The Royal Baby. This is actually the second. This is a sequel, and they're actually both pretty interesting, pretty fun to watch. The first one, uh, the 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 bride, the queen, she's a reporter, I think, in New York, and her dad has a deli, and owns a deli there, and so she goes and she has to do a report on this prince from this small country, right? It's one of those dinky countries that you can barely, don't blink, or otherwise you'll fly right past it. Um, so anyhow, she goes there and does this interview, and she falls in love, and they get married, and then the second movie has to do with her being pregnant. All of a sudden, she's pregnant, and they decorate the whole place, and all of a sudden there's another couple from another royal couple coming from another country. They come and visit, and there's some kind of drama that happens between the two countries, and apparently they came to they drew up a treaties. The elders, the ancestors, back in the day, drew up a treaty to end the war, the fighting that was going on between them. So every year, the new royalty, or the royalty that's there, re-signs the treaty to activate it or reestablish it, and then they just go on about their business and everything's fine. Well, some jerk who's actually working for the people there in this country, and I want to say, let me see, I'm gonna say the let me see. Oh, now this movie, The Royal Baby, came out last year with Rose McIver, Ben Lamb, Alice Craig, Honor Neefsey, Kevin Shen, Momo Young, Sarah Douglas, and Theo Devani. So anyhow, Rose McIver is the new queen, and so she goes and she gets pregnant, and they're gonna the other couple from the other country come over, and they're gonna sign it right before they leave, and they're getting ready to leave because they're just visiting to sign the thing, and then they're gonna go home right away before the weather gets really bad, right? So they go to sign it. They open the box, and the treaty is missing. So some jerk off that's working for the royal couple there steals it, and nobody can figure it out, right? So they have this whodunit thing going on, and so finally it's found, and then they sign it. Everybody lives happily ever after, and right before that, or right at that point, Rose McIver has her baby, and I can't remember, is it a son or daughter? I don't know. Watch the movie, you figure it out. But that's besides the point. So, anyhow, fun movie to watch. It's a bit cheesy, but just the scenery, the lavishness, it's just interesting to watch and see and look and observe. That's all. So the next movie that I want to talk about, The Night Before Christmas. Now this was an interesting movie because it had to do with some paranormal time travel stuff going on. So this knight from England or whatever, back in the 1400s or whatever, his brother is getting ready to get married, so he goes out into the wilderness. I don't know if he went to what he was doing there, but anyhow, he runs into this witch or whatever, this I'm gonna say priestess, but no. Anyhow, this woman who does this magic, and she gives him this pendant, and this pendant sends him into the present day, right? And this movie, the present day was last year, 2019. So anyhow, she sends him into 2019, and he runs into Vanessa Hudgens, also, and his name is Josh Whitehouse, and then I believe Emmanuel Shrieky and Isabel Franca are also. Emmanuel Shrieky, I believe, is her sister, Vanessa Hudgens' sister, and then Isabel Franca, I believe, is Emmanuel's daughter. So anyhow, he ends up in this community with Vanessa Hudgens, and he appears there, and he's all dressed up in this get up for being a oh my God, why can't I think of this? But anyhow, he's dressed up in all this attire for being a soldier, right? Back in the day, 1400s or whatever. So he ends up meeting with Vanessa. They go through all this stuff, and then the little girl runs away, and he tracks her down and finds her, and she's at the lake. Oh my God, he goes, oh, she's like the ice is getting ready to crack and open, and he just lay down on your stomach, and here, I'll pull you out, and then you'll be fine. So he pulls it out, and he saves the day, and so anyhow they go through all this stuff going on. People are talking, and the women in the community are like, wow, check this guy out. But anyhow, so he only has like a few days. Oh, in order for him to get back, he has to overcome some kind of fear or whatever, emotional distress or whatever. So finally, he overcomes it, and the pendant light comes on, and then he's sent back to the his kingdom, right? And his brother is getting ready to get married, and he goes, "Hey, brother, I love you, but I got to go back," because he falls in love with Vanessa, right? So he goes, "I got to get back, and I'm going to go back and be with my squaw, or my lady, yeah, that's right." So anyhow, so his brother's going, "Oh, don't worry about it, brother. I love you, and if you found your mate, then I'm happy for you, and we'll be fine without you, and but be happy." And so goes back, and of course they live happily ever after. So anyhow, it's like that. The next movie I want to talk about, Holiday Rush. Holiday Rush. Oh shit! Now I have to put it on the internet because I don't remember. Well, let me see who's in it. Romany Malco, and this came out last year as well. Saniqua, Martin Green, Darlene Love, Amar M. Wooten, Daisha Nelson, Andrea Marie, and Selena Marie Alfonso, and Dion Cole. Did I don't know when I watched this. Whoops. Time out. I gotta go back. I don't know if I even went and watched the trailer for this because I don't remember.
You're on.
So I have to go back.
Let's get this party started.
Kurt Russell, let's get this party started. Hillbilly Elegy,
Somebody that people would look.
Dave Chappelle, Robert Downey Jr., Christmas Prince, Royal Baby, The Night Before Christmas. This was a good part for Vanessa Hudgens. She did really good in that. Holiday Rush. Why can't I remember this? Let me see. Oh yeah, I remember now. I remember. Okay, I remember. Here, I'm gonna turn this off because I don't trust these assholes that get into my computer and screw with it. But anyhow, Holiday Rush. Again with Where's it at? Romany Amalco and Saniqua Martin, who are an item. Well, actually, I think Romany is his wife died or something, but anyhow, he's not with his wife anymore, and he has, I believe, 3 kids, either 2 or 3 kids, but anyhow, I think it's 3, and so he's his partner. He's a radio show host, and his partner is Saniqua, and she more or less produces the shows, and I think she does produce the shows, but she's also an announcer, a host as well. So they've been having this show going on for all these years, and then the actual producer, the owner of the show, of the studio, sells the studio to some big corporation who take over, right? Oh man, this is you just want to get in there and choke this woman or whatever, right? She's like, "Oh, I'm just the head honcho, right?" And I think who was it that was in that? I gotta see. Hang on a second. I think it was Darlene Love who's the owner, the new owner of the company, right? So they basically tell Romany and Shaniqua, well, you're out of here. See you later. And the studio owner, the ex studio owner, gets to stay, right? He's a schmuck, right? So anyhow, they figure out, well, some other studio. In fact, the studio where they first started their show business from, is for sale. So they go and buy it. They take over, and in the meantime, the the new company that took over their studio goes and tries to try, and in fact they do. They successfully conspire against them and undermine them, and right, and so they're going to open up on Christmas or New Year's or something like that, and they end up undermining them, and then anyhow somehow they end up finally opening up their show. The owner of the ex owner of the other studio quits because he can't stand these people anymore because they're so obnoxious, right? So he goes to them and helps them out at the very end. But before he does, Romany has to get in his fist, and he goes and starts stroking him and all this stuff. That's pretty funny, but anyhow, it's a funny movie, interesting movie, and if you want a good laugh, and if you like, especially if you like if you're like a podcaster or whatever, or a radio show host, you might actually enjoy it. But anyhow, let me see. The ride. Hang on a second. Again, came out last year. The Ride. Shane Graham, Ludacris, Sasha Alexander, Jessica Sarfati, Ali Afshar, and Blake Shelton. Oh, come on! Why can't I remember this? Time out. I have to go and look this up because I can't remember. No.
Grammarly is your personal writing assistant.
Oh
for creating
yeah, I'm
emails,
just gonna
confident
throw a
messages,
commercial
genre
in,
essays,
whatever. Kiss my butt. Oh yeah, this is based on a true story. This was based on, I can't remember where this took place at, but it was. Let me see if I can figure out. I want to say Connecticut. But let me see. Yeah, I want to say Connecticut, but I don't know where this took place at, but and this movie came out time out last year as well. Again, Shane Graham, Ludacris, Sasha Alexander, Jessica Sarfati, and Ali Afshar and Blake Shelton. Now, this kid, it starts out with, and again, this is based on a true story. His dad, and again, this is back in the day when people were just violent and they got away with a lot of stuff. But this guy, this kid, his dad is like beating on his mom, and he's an alcoholic or whatever, and he goes and I think he goes and takes a bat to the dad or a knife or something, so he ends up in jail, right? So in juvenile hall, and he's getting into all these fights and all the stuff's going on, and his social worker understands what's going on, and so she finds him a couple, some parents, and the mom is Caucasian, and the dad is Afro American, right? And at the beginning, him and his brother are involved with these other like two or three other guys, and they're like a gang, and they're like KKK or something like that, because they mark his neck, and they put the swastika on his neck, right? And so anyhow, he's like, "Are you sure you want to be my parents?" He's like, "What the hell?" So they do. They take him home, and he's got his own room for the first time probably ever in his life, and they take him to school, and then he's like embarrassed because he's with the dad is Afro American or black or whatever, right? So the mom just turns around, and she just goes off on him. You're ashamed of my husband being black, blah 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 blah. And she just goes off, right? And so he gets out and takes off, and so anyhow, somehow he ends up there. He observes some of the other guys in school that are his age. They're all riding these motorbikes, these bikes that they do all these stunts with and tricks with and stuff. They're at school. So he gets a bike himself, and the dad has a bike, and they go off, and he doesn't even know how to ride a bike at the beginning, right? So he shows him how to ride a bike, and he starts doing these stunts, and pretty soon he ends up on this team that does all these bike tricks, and they compete, right? So they go out, and he ends up on the team, and he ends up at the very end winning the competition just because he was natural talent, right? He just had a knack for it. So he found something that he could do, and if kids can find something that they can do that's productive and useful and beneficial and of service, sometimes that's all it takes to straighten out some of these people. And I think that's the real big thing about several of the movies that I'll be reviewing. Some of the other movies is that when people find purpose and are productive and creative, and they can be passionate, and then when they're passionate about something, then they can find meaning in life and be useful and of service. And that's what you want. So, and it doesn't matter where these people are from or what kind of backgrounds, or even there's a lot of dark entities out there, even so, that want to be in the light. They want to experience love. They want to be loved. They want to live with the love, but their circumstances a lot of times prevents that from happening, or stops them or blocks them or whatever. So it's just a simple, sometimes just a simple thing, and then the light comes on, and then they're no longer with the dark forces anymore. They're with the light. So and karma and past lives, all that stuff have a say so in all that process. So it's not necessarily an easy thing for most people or a lot of people. It's just the way it is. So hopefully, if you support enough people, or people get enough support, then they'll find their way. Eventually they will, sooner or later. So anyhow, good movie, again based on a true story, and very it was kind of cheesy in a way a little bit, but I still give it the benefit of the doubt. The Christmas Switch. Now, I remember this movie because it was a fun movie to watch. There was this young guy. I don't know, he's in his 30s, late 20s or something. He too is involved with this group of guys, 4 or 5 guys or whatever, and he goes out, and this holiday season he's got his Christmas hat, and he does these tricks to and to make money, and that's how that's how they live. So anyhow, in the meantime, there's a grandpa who's been playing Christmas every year for like 20 years or whatever, 40 years or whatever, and what's her name? Natasha Henstridge is the mother, And the young guy that does all these tricks is Brian Krause. And then now this came out 2 years ago, 2018. And then Cedric Smith and George Booza. I think George Booza is her dad, Natasha's dad. And then Cedric, I can't remember. Oh, Cedric, I believe. No, I take it back. I think Cedric Smith is the dad. And then George Booza is like the angel or whatever. He comes in and tells Brian, well, I want you to go, because the old man, Natasha's old man, father, has one last wish. He's sick, like he's really sick, and his last wish is to be Santa Claus for one more time, right? And so this angel or the spirit or whatever comes up to Brian and says, "Hey, I want you to switch places with him so he'll be healthy enough so he can be Santa Claus for one more time." So, and Brian's like, "Who is this guy? What is he, a freak? What? I'll do it for $1 million." Boop! There's $1 million right there on the spot. He's going, whoa. So he does. He makes the switch, and all this stuff happens, and then the guys figure it out. They go, well, we want in on this. We want the part of that $1 million. So he goes, oh yeah, I don't care. Whatever you want to do. So anyhow, at the very end, he barely gets enough energy to make the switch back again, and he goes and gives the $1 million away, and then him and of course Natasha end up hooking up, and they live happily ever after. Okay, fine, whatever. So it's like that. So let me see. The next movie, Suicide Squad. This is actually the second time I've watched this movie. I don't know. The first time was when it first came out. This is 4 years ago, 2016, with Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Viola Davis, Jay Hernandez, Adewale. Oh my God, I'm not even going to. But anyhow, I'm just gonna say AA, AAA, Akinoyi, Agbaje. I don't know how, but I guess if you want to call me and let me know how you say your name, that'll help. Jay Courtney, Jared Leto, and then Cara Delvine. Now that was an interesting movie. It was violent, but again, this is one of those movies where they have all these. Marvel I would never produce such a movie. Probably, I don't think this is their movie. I'm pretty sure it's not. But anyhow, again, it's about heroes, not necessarily superheroes, but thugs, right? So it's like that. They get the meanest, baddest people in prison. All these lineup of people, mostly guys, with exception of Margot Robbie, to go out and they have this witch. And that was Cara Delvine is the witch. But anyhow, Cara and her brother are going to take over the world and destroy it and dominate it. Blah blah blah. So they go, well, we're going to get all these thugs, and we're gonna get them to save the world, right? So when people again have purpose and meaning in life, they're more inspired and more apt to doing a job or whatever. So they do. They come in and they destroy the witch, and they don't get their lives back in the very end, but they get some perks back that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So a really an intense movie. Again, it's violent, so if you don't like violence, maybe you shouldn't watch it, but it's very very interesting. A lot of funny stuff in it, and this was a good part for Margot Robbie and also Will Smith. And so anyhow, if you get into that stuff, then that might be a movie you might want to watch. So, Live Free or Die Hard. Oh my God, what a movie! It came out 2007 with Bruce Willis, Justin Long, Timothy Oliphant, Cliff Curtis, Maggie Q, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kevin Smith, Bill Clinton, John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Franklin D. Roosevelt, George Bush Sr., and George Bush Jr. Again, another violent movie, but let me see if I can remember this.